Welcome to Restaurant Review. I'm your host, Bob Bockelman. We're here every Saturday. We're at the end of September 2004. Boy, it's flying by. We've had a raft of hurricanes coming by us, but fortunately we've been spared. And we're glad to it because the purpose of our show is to bring to you all the latest and greatest of our New Orleans restaurants and musicians. And we're back in the groove again. We have a brand new restaurant for you today and a real young, smashing musical group. We've got some other information to tell you about programming-wise and a special event at the end of the show. Don't forget to remind me. I know you won't. But what we're going to do now is, our usual, take our stroll to the back of the station and go ahead and introduce you to our musical guest for today. Follow me. Okay, we're here with Alex MAUL. Is that right, Alex?
Yes,
Did I pronounce it correctly? Good. And he's got a young group of gentlemen. Why don't you go ahead and introduce them first, and then we'll chit-chat.
All right, I'm Alex MAUL. I play guitar. This is Joey Peebles on drums and Max Moran on bass.
Alex, Joey, and Max. Nice. AJM. Very good. Now, I understand y'all are natives. Is that right?
Yeah, we all are from New Orleans. We've all been born here, and we all live uptown.
Good deal. We love that. We love that. I also understand y'all are products of NOCA, at fine organization. Is that right?
Yeah, we all are sophomores at NOCA.
Oh, you're still there. I thought y'all were finished. Well, y'all are so young. I should know that y'all are still involved. It's a wonderful, wonderful institution. We're really glad to have. We've had a couple of your graduates and even some of the professors here on our show in the last 2 years. So we're always glad to get them. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about your music. Do you have a kind of a category? I know I hate to use that term, but a style or anything you can tell the folks about what it is?
Yeah, well, it's basically jazz, but we explore different, types and styles. So we got some.
They really do, folks. We've been hearing them warm up, and jazz is their basis, but they really go off in a lot of shoots there. And let's see. I know they don't have a CD yet, and they're working on their website, but they do have an email address if you'd like to find out more about them. Did you come up with that?
Yeah, our band name is Ultimatum. And
Ultimatum.
You can contact us at ultimatumband03@hotmail.com.
Ultimatumband3. Hopefully you got all that at hotmail.com. All right, and even though they provided to us through our good friend Phil Melanson at the Neutral Ground, they don't have a gig coming up yet. Is that right?
No, we're working on it.
Okay, but they might be appearing at the function we're going to tell you about, that event on October 9th. So if we've got room for them, I extended the invitation this morning, and it looks like they hopefully can help us out there. So that's even more invitation for you to pay attention when we tell you about an event. Okay, let's go ahead without further ado and tell us what you'll do for your first song.
Our first song is a Latin song we wrote. It's called Pipin'.
Okay. Well, that was Ultimatum with Alex MAUL and his two gentlemen associates. Remember, the great prodigies of Noka, and they very young kids. I hate to use that term, kids, young gentlemen, but with a really adult sound. And it had a lot of, even that jazz roots, it had a lot of the Spanish influence in that song. Now, today's ethnic restaurant is a nearby of Spain, but not Spanish. It is Italy, one of our favorite cultures. And our restaurant today is in our nearby parish, Jefferson Parish, out in off Veterans Way, out about Lafreniere Park. For those who know, it used to be a racetrack. Now it's a residential area, in a shopping mall out there that has, I think, one or two other restaurants. But really, this place is really bulging into seams. It's called Santo'S Trattatoria, and we're pleased to have Chef Sandro PIERRI here today. Welcome to the show, Sandro.
Thank you.
Great. Wanted to tell us a little bit about our restaurant. I know you just about a year old, and that's almost old for us since we focus on new restaurants. But why don't you tell us how old your restaurant is?
It's just a little bit over a year old, probably just a couple of weeks older than a year.
Excellent. Just celebrate your anniversary. Now, Trattoria, I think, means something like a small, intimate eating place, and yours is certainly that. It's really quaint. Unfortunately, the only demise of that, it seems to always be packed. But tell us a little bit more about how you got into the business, and about your background with regard to the restaurant.
Well, Trattoria in Italy. I was born in Italy, and I'm somewhat familiar about. Trattoria just means a small-run family cafe.
Okay.
And usually, the recipes of the restaurant or cafes, family-type recipes, and that's what we tried to have here at Santo'S as well.
Okay. And the folks can see behind us is it's got a great looking, again, to try and distinguish himself among all the other stores, he's got a great looking canopy out there that really glows. It's a vibrant red with his name in a gold on there, so it really lures you right in. But once you get in, and you'll see by some of the pictures that we've taken, it's really tastefully done, even though it's not old world actually in its physical makeup. He's got some great looking representations to look like brick and stucco, some lovely little window frames and gas lights. So it really is very, very intimate. How many do you seat approximately?
Unfortunately, we can only sit 36.
36, yeah.
So
I thought it was smaller than that. But it's great for that because, you really feel like you're in a small hometown or family kind of place, and everyone seems to know everyone there. But at the same time, he's really putting out quality food. Do you want to tell us anything about your background in the food business?
Well, it was three of us that really started Santo'S. Two of my partners, one was Troy, that you met, and also Vance Rue. Vance is a culinary teacher at Delgado, and we became friends through my new girlfriend of a couple of 4 years, and started cooking together. And we said, God, we really should open up a restaurant together. So it kind of was off the cuff, and then we happened to find this little place that was for sale, and it was a low end going into it. And most restaurants, it's a big startup cost,
big overhead, right?
And it was just perfect for us to give us a shot at it, and to see how we would do at it. And it really turned out really pretty good. We did all the work ourselves. The pictures, the wall treatments, we all did on our own. It took us 3 months to get it done, but we did it. So it is like a little family atmosphere type.
It really is. And I tell you, you'll feel very comfortable from the time you come in. So without further ado, we want to go ahead now and show the folks some of the great food that you're putting out, because I was really impressed. This little engine really works. I mean, it's got a small kitchen, but it really can crank out the food. Let's start with, as we usually do, with some of our appetizers, and I believe we started with calamari frita. Is that right? Whoop. Although we did, that's not what we got in the order here. What is this we're looking at?
That looks like the salad.
Salad, house salad.
That's
so
house salad.
We ate a little bit out of order that night because, unfortunately, fortunately for Sandro, he had some real large parties, and so he was nice enough to crank out the dishes as best he could to accommodate us while he was still satisfying his customers. So we apologize, folks, if we're a little disarray in the order of things. But let's go ahead and jump to that. This is Sandro's house salad that we just saw, and this thing is huge. There were two of us dining, and we still had enough for at least one or two more diners. Let's see if we can take a look at that picture again and describe to us some of the fabulous ingredients in this salad.
The salad dressing is what we call our herb vinaigrette, and that's homemade. It's about 15 different ingredients, combination, some lemon juice, orange, extra virgin olive oil, a little balsamic vinegar. So there's about 15 different ingredients to give that taste. Everybody really loves it. I use assorted greens, fresh greens, and I also throw in some romaine and iceberg to give it some crispiness. Right. And you got to decorate it up. That's a salad that's usually for two. Sometimes we do individual salads, but usually if one to two persons eat it, I'll group it together and serve it like that. Just makes a little nicer atmosphere, and also home again. Like if you're at home, you always usually share a salad, and it makes it a little bit more nicer that way. I
have to ask you this, and I should have asked before, do you make your own breads? Because the bread was superb.
No, you mentioned about a kitchen small.
Yeah. I understand. You can't do all things to all people. The important thing is to know where to buy the bread, and you certainly have gotten a good vendor there.
Exactly. For our salads, we use a grilled ciabatta bread, which is a typical Italian flatbread. We cut it and put a little olive oil, a little we call Sandra's seasoning in it, which is a combination of some seasoning and some sea salt, and then we grill it, and that just turns out really
wonderful flavor.
Really.
And I believe in the center of it, I'm not sure we can see in the salad, was a wonderful olive salad, was it not?
That's correct.
Oh, really? It was finely diced, but really delicious. So folks, this is a great, great beginner, because it really is. Well, like I say, it's too much for one person, so hopefully you're going to bring at least one other diner so you can try it. Now, I think if we remember the order that we took the pictures in, we should probably move to soups instead of appetizers next. So let's see if one of the Italian soups have come up. Let's see, Mr. Drag, is it the minestrone or is it the lentil soup we have next? Minestrone, huh?
It's minestrone, yes.
One of my favorite Italian soups. Tell us what goes into, most people think minestrone is just vegetable soup. And that's your core, but it's totally different, really.
That's correct. That's a typical Tuscan type.
Tuscan, right?
A Tuscan, and you start off actually with onions. You grill your onions and your extra virgin olive oil, but then you add a little pancetta, a little here you can get ham, just to add a little flavor to it.
Sure.
Yeah, and then the next big item is chicken stock. We roast 10 to 12 chickens every week, and we use the chicken stock from there to start the basis of the minestrone soup. That's real critical, and then you add your vegetables. One of the green vegetables that's added at the end is escarole.
Right.
That gives you a little different
flavor,
than typically your spinach or anything else. Escarole is a little bit more bitter, but when it combines with all the other flavors, it gives you a different taste.
Excellent. And it reminds me a little bit of, it's not the same, of the Italian wedding soup, with the, instead of having the matzo, but having that same escarole kind of flavor in it.
Exactly.
Really. And of course, once again, he's got that wonderful French bread, or was that ciabatta as well?
Ciabatta, yeah.
Beautifully grilled, a great supplement. Now let's take a look at the other soup. Was it red lentils? I think it was red lentils.
No, that's typical, brown lentils.
Brown lentils.
What gives it the red look is we add a little bit of salsa rosa when we're making it to give the little texture to it. And that's, again, a typical recipe from, a lot of these recipes are from Tuscany. Well, I'm from Abruzzi, really. Tuscany, Abruzzi is probably the same region. And that's typical from what I grew up with, is that lentil soup like that.
It was phenomenal. Little baby lentils, but with a really super great flavor. Yeah. And I know you have some other soups, because I think the first time I came, I think you had my favorite was pasta fagioli, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later, folks, because we don't have a picture of it. But anyway, he's super creative with a lot of the dishes. So even though He's got a huge menu already when you see it. He's always got nightly specials and things that he's putting on, and he carries and will do whether it's on the special or not. Let's move on now. We should be kind of reversing our order. I think we're coming to our appetizer, which we mentioned at the beginning of the show, and that is a plate of calamari fritta. In an Italian restaurant, you got to have fried calamari. But folks, this was the largest plate I've ever seen, and wonderful marinara sauce. And let's see if our director has that up there so we can take a look. Okay? All right. Again, the picture does not do justice. This plate was huge. I don't know if we took 2 pictures or not. But tell us a little bit. It was so good. The other diner with me just doesn't eat squid at all, and could not stop eating it because he said the batter was absolutely the best he's ever had. Can you give us a little bit about your secret batter?
That's the key to the calamari or to any fried is the batter. And that's Vance's recipe, which is a combination of white flour, cornmeal, some other herbs and spices I put in there, and that's a key is the batter, and
Excellent.
then quick frying like that where it's
exactly. It was so light but still so tasty.
Yes.
And a wonderful marinara sauce to dip in. But like I say, folks, you really don't realize. And that I kept asking the waiter, "Are you sure this plate is not, the chef's not overdoing it for the show?" Then he said, no, this is the normal portion. I said, well, okay, because we're just going to make the people feel, there's a dish. I thought we took a second shot. You can see there, folks, and this is just not a typical dining plate. It's almost like a charger plate, almost a platter. And you can see how much it wraps around the entire mini serving container of the marinara sauce. But talk about delicious. This is certainly, and this you're really going to have even more than 2 people, unless you're eating very, very light, more than 2 people at the table to finish this off. We barely made a dent in it, even though it was so delicious. All right, now I think we had one other appetizer. You had a lovely selection. I think one of the all-time favorites today in almost any restaurant is the use of portobello mushrooms. And you did it really justice by just grilling it. Hopefully the picture does it. Tell us a little bit about what you do in it, because it was really superb.
Well, it's not just grilled portobello. First, we marinated in what we call a herb vinaigrette, which again we do more than just the portobello with the herb vinaigrette. We do vegetables as well as eggplant in it. We grill it with the herb, not the herb vinaigrette, can't think right now. Anyway, we grill the portobello, then we also saute some spinach with a little extra virgin olive oil, a little crushed red pepper and salt, and then we top it off with 2 grilled Roma tomatoes on top. So that's what makes it a little special too.
But
so
really, of course, the mushrooms themselves are just phenomenal. They really are good, but with the extra accoutrements, they really are, I mean, it's really a filling dish. It's, again, portobello is like eating meat to me. I mean, it's like the vegetarian's meat. It's so meaty in its consistency.
It's like a piece of steak sometimes.
Exactly. But the flavor here with your ingredients and your additional accessory items just really make it great. Now, he's got a wonderful he's got very good other appetite. My favorite is the antipasto plate, and if we have time, we don't have a picture, but we're going to come and let him tell you detailed amount of ingredients that are on that plate, which is a tremendous, tremendous serving. But now let's try and move into the entrees. Now, if I remember correctly, we took a look at 2 of his veal dishes, which I think you can use other, like chicken as well, but one was a veal piccata and one was a veal masala. Let's see which one comes up first, Mr. Director. That's your piccata, huh? A masala, right?
It's masala, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about your masala, please.
The masala is we use top butt of the veal. We don't really cube it like some restaurants do, so it's high quality veal. Thinly sliced, that's the key, and you lightly saute it in white flour, and then you put your marsala sauce. Marsala is a combination of veal stock and marsala wine with a little salt and other little ingredients, and you saute it. First you saute your veal lightly with the flour, and then you add your mushrooms with the marsala sauce and combine all the flavors together. And we serve that over a fettuccine pasta.
And then, of course, the veal piccata. Let's see if we can bring up the other picture, which is important to veal piccata. Look how beautiful that's blended together.
Yeah, veal piccata.
Tell the folks, for those who are not familiar with piccata.
The veal, again, is the same veal, and like you just mentioned, we do chicken or veal. Veal, again, is lightly, thinly sliced. It's not cubed or not pounded because it's a top quality veal. And the piccata sauce is wine and lemon and a little butter, and we add capers to it. And again, you blend all ingredients together, and so served over angel hair pasta.
Angel hair pasta. Really beautiful presentation, great taste. Especially I love the capers, a little salt taste to that. Now, you also did that night, and I don't think it was on the menu, but I think you were doing it as a special, but you say you do, the waiter told me you do it so much, it's almost like a daily item. That was your eggplant Napoleon, I believe, huh? Is that what you call a lasagna, really?
Eggplant, spinach lasagna.
Right.
And that was, that's funny, that just came up. We added that to the menu, and we developed it just by chance. And we don't use any pasta in eggplant lasagna.
Right.
It's strictly all eggplant, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan, and spinach that we added.
Let's see if we can get a picture of it. Yeah, that's what threw me when you were calling it lasagna, because there was no pasta. I kept saying, well, where's your noodles? You know. Let's see if we get that picture up there. So we went back to the veal piccata, huh? Is that what that is? Yeah. Well, let's move on. And but again, again, folks, it was a wonderful dish, and from what I understand, that you serve it almost nightly now because it's become so popular.
Yeah, we have a lot of regulars for the 1 year that we're open. We just get so many repeat customers, and everybody loves eggplant lasagna, so we almost have it daily. It's not on the menu. If we put everything in, we do. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Folks.
Yeah, that's.
In fact, we
would.
I was afraid that when we were first looking at it, we thought that was the veal masala, but it was really the eggplant. And you can, you want to go over one more time while they're getting a look at it?
Yeah, that's just layers. Instead of layers of pasta like a lasagna you would have, and we have a traditional meat lasagna on that my sister makes for me, that family recipe that I was telling you about, layers of pasta. This is layers of eggplant, and in between we put mozzarella, Parmesan, and we do a bechamel, and then we do layers of spinach in between as well. So.
We're a great vegetarian dish. So for those we do have a nice vegetarian audience. So this would be a wonderful entree for you. Let's talk about now. Again, we've kind of run through the pictures. So let's talk about some of the other items. We've got to get about 10 minutes before we go see our musicians again. Let's go back to the appetizers, because I really want, even though we don't have a picture, let's talk about your antipasta plate. When I saw that, and I mean, I've tried them in every restaurant I go to that has one. And usually they're okay, but I have to admit yours was one of the better ones I've ever had. So tell us about the phenomenal ingredients that you had in your antipasta plate.
Well, what I feel ours is a little different is because I tried in the Trattatoria in Italy, an antipasto is not just olives and vegetables, it's a lot of meats and cheeses. So on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, I change up the hard salamis that I use and the cheeses that I use to make a variety. Again, so we have a combination of at least 3 different cheeses on our antipasto tray, 3 different hard salamis. It's not your traditional salamis that you see. Right. Yeah, you see Genoa. These are Abruzzese, Calabrese, Supersadas, just different that you don't normally see and get to taste. Right. And this is a lot of learning experience for people who do come in and taste it. And then we put a little, olive salad in there as well, and nuts and fruit and bread, because I grew up with eating a combination of cheeses and salamis, fruits and breads, and that makes it a good blend.
Exactly. And again, folks, this is not for just one person. Even though I have to admit, the first night I ate the whole darn thing, it was so good. But I'm telling you, this is a wonderful way to. Even though we talked about serving the calamari as an extra appetizer, if you eat a couple of the appetizers, you're really going to limit your intake for your entrees. But this is totally, for being an Italian restaurant, I would definitely recommend for you to try the antipasta. And like you said, what's really good about it, it's never going to be the same. I asked him that particular day if he ever did mortadella, which is my favorite Italian ham, and he said he did. It wasn't on there that day, but he rotates this, and that's what we just talked about, is that he's rotating constantly the major ingredients on that plate. So you can go back many times and never have the initial combination that you did. So this is a great, not only to impress yourself, but also your diners that are with you. And like I say, it is a wonderful, wonderful appetizer. Any other appetizers of note that we haven't talked about yet before we move into some of the other areas?
Well, we also have some fresh mussels that we do as an appetizer, really excellent.
And I'd rather you say the mussels. Is it the same mussels that we do for your entree?
It's just a little different. But yeah, we have mussels and we have baked oysters and grilled vegetables, and eggplant marinade is what I couldn't remember before. That's what we marinate our vegetables, portobello's eggplant, grilled eggplant.
Ah, okay.
So we have,
and what do you do in your baked oysters? You just grill it? Or?
No, baked oysters really. We have a leek confit that we do first.
Okay. Oh, leek. Wow.
Oh, it's delicious. Leek confit. Then we put our oysters in. Then we put Italian breadcrumbs, seasoned breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, and top it off with crab meat.
Okay.
And bake it. Excellent.
Excellent.
It takes
Sounds
about
good.
20 minutes to do, but it really comes out.
I'll tell you
really well.
one picture we did. Hopefully, Mr. Director's on there. I think one of our entrees, in fact, your signature entree we haven't seen. And if we'll go one step further, please, on the pictures, it's going to be his mussels. We mentioned the mussels on the appetizer, and it's called Sandro's Mussels, something special or extravaganza.
Favorite mussels, not just favorite.
Let's see if we can bring it up. There you go, folks.
Yeah.
This is again, it's not for one person. Not only that, it sits on a bed of pasta. That's what's so shocking to me. Usually when you have a mussel dish, it's strictly the mussels and or the vegetables and the wonderful broth, you know, and of course your wonderful dipping breads. But when I dug down there and found the spaghetti, so let's tell them about all the wonderful ingredients, because this is truly a magnificent dish.
Well, it's funny. Again, usually when, like you just said, most restaurants you go get mussels, you don't really get pasta with it. And we had our appetizer with mussels, and we use white wine, butter, and we use caramelized onions and some capers, and we blend that. And by chance, one day I said, this would be great over pasta.
Pasta, right.
So then to add to that, we added our salsa rosa, which we make a red sauce, salsa rosa. So I said, well, this would be great if we add some salsa rosa to the dish. And we did it, and it worked out really good. Put that over pasta, and that is a meal.
I know you told me the first night I went there, because one of my favorite pasta dishes is vongole with the clams. And this is, to me, equal to that. And even though it's the red sauce, just so close to that. So I was so pleased when I had it the other night. It was just tremendous.
Bob, one step further to this dish that we added, and we have at specials as well. Actually, we can do that any night. But we added oysters, shrimp, and calamari.
Wow.
And we call it fruta de mar.
Fruta de mar.
I mean, it's wonderful.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, folks, if you really want to delight, that is a Bulla-based pasta.
Exactly.
Is fruta de mar. They're taking all of the seafoods and putting certain one with the pasta. That has got to be the epitome there. So definitely I know where to go. Now, we focused a lot, of course, on your pasta but a lot on seafood and vegetables. And I don't want, because some people, like got to have their meat or got to have some. And we did say the veal could be substituted for chicken. But let's talk about a few of the other entrees that feature maybe more of the meat or the fowl, so that our audience can certainly appreciate that as well.
Well, real quickly, I think we have the best value of a filet that you can get in town. We have a 10-ounce filet that we serve. And we grill an eggplant, put the filet on top of eggplant with sauteed mushrooms on top, and you can't beat it with the price. Excellent.
Wow.
It's
that
excellent.
Sounds
It's
great.
a little side of salsa rosa pasta. A couple of specials that we have during the day. At night is dobe. Everybody loves our dobe.
Oh, I didn't even think to ask that. That is the old line Italian, huh?
Typically,
and you have that at night or just at lunch?
At lunch, but we also have it at night. And it's another dish that people come every week for lunch to know the day. We have to keep it on the same day of the week so people know when we have the dobe, and people actually,
And you
save
serve
it
it
for
with a
night.
particular type pasta? I love it with shells, but I mean, everybody's got their own favorite with dobe, huh?
We put it over angel hair. And we have a chicken cacciatore that we do for lunch specials and carry it over at dinner time too. And these are dishes that, again, typical trattoria type dishes that you see family type, meals.
Oh, yeah. And I think I asked you about my all-time favorite. I know is one of the most difficult to make, and I don't believe you have it on the menu, but I think you said you do try it. That's why we both talked about brocciolone.
Yes. Brocciolone.
Okay. For those who don't know, that is is it veal? You start with veal, or what meat do you use?
You can use veal. It's
Veal.
a little bit more expensive cut. You can use veal.
Right.
Again, slicely thin
Very
and roll it.
thinly sliced and then rolled with all type of Italian ingredients. Some people put spinach, etc., and then cooked down forever. Of course, sewed up or somehow twined together, and then cooked down in the red gravy. And like I say, it's very time-consuming. Years ago, it was in every little nook and cranny of an Italian restaurant. Today, it's few and far between because of the amount of work. But
Bob, that you mentioned about meat again. I just thought about one dish that we have is also buco.
I remember. Good thing, like I said, didn't have the menu in front of me, and that was one I said I would love to try, because again, is another great meat.
Pork ossobuco that we do. It's 4 inches high, 22 ounces. And the reason we went to pork, first we did veal, but veal ossobuco, to get the right cut, is so expensive, so we try to keep our price on our menu reasonable. So we tried pork ossobuco, and it turned out actually wonderful.
Wow.
The meat is a little sweeter than veal.
I was just about to say, is it sweeter than veal? Because
The meat is sweeter than veal.
Wow.
It cooks a little longer to get it tender like
to get
veal,
it so tender, right?
but it's excellent.
Well, that has got to be really fairly unique in these parts, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone in a
that's
restaurant
correct.
at least serve it as pork. So
Yeah.
there you go, folks. For those who like ossobuco, what a variety here to try pork. Again, another one we want to think about. How about any other dishes? Do you have any other? I know you do marinara sauce or just a basic meat, not a meatball spaghetti. I know you did something though, close to the real basics. Did we have anything?
Well, we
in
had, our signature is our red sauce. We call it salsa rosa, and it's real light, and it is almost
Very
like
light.
it's almost like a marinara sauce. But
Right.
with that basic sauce, we can add on to make a bolognese,
Okay.
and we do those specials like that all the time. But our basic is that salsa rosa, and it works out to be really good. It's real light. It's not heavy. Again, I'm from Abruzzi, and that region is not really heavy gravy. Like
Right. It's much
different
lighter,
parts
right.
of Italy, So that's our basis.
Right. Well, folks, we forgot to tell you, of course, I don't know if our director might well wasn't watching. You could give a call to us if like any time during the show, 483-3336 and 3338. I know he'll put those numbers up. And, Chef and I were happy to answer any questions either about the show or about his restaurant. Once again, we're talking to Chef Sandro PIERRI of Santo'S Trattatoria out in Metairie or Jefferson Parish, across from Lafreniere Park on Veterans Boulevard in this large shopping center. He's doing so well. He's told me that he's doing his best to try and expand within his own units by trying to take on additional units so he can really accommodate the crowds. We don't want to deter you from going, because certainly the food is well worth the trip. But I would make a call, especially if you're talking about on a weekend or something like that, because of the size. If you're going into normal bang time, everybody goes at 7 o'clock or so, you might want to call and either make a reservation, because he does take reservations, right?
Yes, we do.
So to me, that's the best solution. Whenever you have a small restaurant that you know that's popular, is to go in there and it takes you less than 2 minutes to make that call to make sure you have something. Because I know the other night when we were there taking up space, several people had to be asked to wait a while or to come back because he had 2 large parties, and basically other than that, the restaurant had only maybe 2 or 3 tables left, because that's how crowded it was. So is there any other dish that we haven't talked about in the entrees before we let our musicians sing another song?
We always do new things.
Okay.
Just recently, we started doing our own cannelloni, stuffing our own cannelloni.
Cannelloni, that's right. That's one thing I didn't notice on there at all.
Yeah.
And what are you stuffing them with? Cheeses or meats or both? Or what?
Both. We did a veal and pork stuffed cannelloni, and then we did a seafood, crab meat, and shrimp. And today our special is going to be with portobello mushrooms and spinach.
Now you're putting them in red sauces, white sauces? Or
No, kind of Alfredo sauce, and we just
Alfredo
top
sauce.
it just with a little bit of salsa rosa, just to give it a little color.
Excellent, excellent.
And another dish that we do, and was becoming a weekly, is boneless pork loin that we stuff with sun-dried tomatoes and spinach.
Wow.
It's
See that?
excellent.
And then what are you cooking it all down in the sauce, or how are you cooking?
You roast it.
Right.
Okay, then after, when we're ready to serve it, we slice it maybe a half-inch thick, and then we just saute it with a little extra virgin olive oil and some crushed red pepper to give it a little sauce, and excellent.
Phenomenal. Well, I know there's got to be some more. We've got about 5 minutes before we go see the musician, so let's see if we can think of it. We don't have the menu at our disposal, but how about soups? Didn't you tell me you do a lot of other soups?
Yeah, there's 3 main soups on the menu. Is the
Always, I
lentil-
know your minestrone
and,
your lentils, huh? Because those are your real
tomato
basic.
basil is
That's
tomato
what
basil
another
is
gentleman
great.
had.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's great. We have those 3 all the time, and we always have other specials. During crawfish season, we did crawfish bisque, corn bisque.
Wow.
We do oyster and artichokes. We do portobello mushroom soups. We always have the soup going on. Soups are, when you have extra soups, is before any of your ingredients tend to go bad, you make a soup out of it.
Rather than
restaurant
waste
business,
it.
you try to
Yeah.
use
Everything you got.
everything you can.
And how about
you can.
salads? I know you had a slew of salads, even though we took the house because we
Yeah.
wanted to be the most
Well, you
representative.
start off with your basic house salad, then you build on it. We have a Sandro's salad where you're like cucina, where we have everything, different blue cheese, and just add everything to it. Carrots and apples and everything else. But with 2 other dishes that we have that are really excellent. that again is the regular lasagna that my sister makes. It's layered
Okay.
it's
You
homemade
mentioned
rolled
the recipe, huh?
right, homemade rolled pasta. It's all handmade, so it's really light, and everybody loves it. That was your signature. And the other favorite for everyone is the Alfredo. Regular fettuccine Alfredo, which we use again fresh pasta and Alfredo sauce. Everyone loves
That's the key.
Alfredo.
Alfredo, got a bum rap. I think it got overexposed, and then too many people took shortcuts and did too many different things to it. So I think now, even though some people, for the most part, people have gotten away from it because either they feel it's too rich, too heavy, or they just can't find. But I think the key there is the pasta, not the sauce. I think people blame it all on, they look for the sauce, but I really think it's the pasta that the right combination is going to make it the perfect dish.
No, you're right.
Great,
It's
good.
the pasta. The fresh pasta makes a difference.
All right, we've been talking to Chef Sandro PIERRI of Santo'S Trattatoria in Jefferson. Before we go see our musician, I told you we had a special event that we wanted to tell you all about. And that is, as you know, whenever we don't have a restaurant here, we've been trying a new experience this year and bringing on artists and letting him or her show you their wares, 12 to 14 pieces, still with our musicians. But it makes a break rather than just show a canned show, and it's met with a lot of success. And one of the places, just like we get our musicians, a lot of my musicians from the Neutral Ground, one of our big suppliers is called Art Egg Art Studios, which is on 1001 South Broad, in between, if I remember correctly, Earhart and the Expressway. It's the old American egg factory. They still have the sign out there. Dr. Denise Dyer from New York bought it, and she turned it into just a hive of artists. There's, I believe 40 artists that actually have working studios in this giant warehouse. Well, she's decided to capitalize on the latest gimmick that everyone is going into these art marts. There's one, as you know, in fact, today, the third Saturday of every month, right at the corner of Canal and Carrollton, is the Mid-City Art Market. On the fourth Saturday of the month is the Bywater, the oldest one. Well, she's starting a new one on Saturday, October 9th, and we're real pleased to be a part of it, called Art Egg Art Studio Art Mart. And it run from 10 to 4 that Saturday and every second Saturday thereafter, whereby the artists will be out there displaying their wares, selling their wares, explaining anything to you about them. The unique feature about ours, and that's why we're participating, is Dr. Dyer has graciously allowed us to, one, present our music and to also present our food. Several of the restaurants that have been on the show are going to be out there serving food to the guests who visit, and some of the musicians that you've heard in studio. And as we mentioned, we're hoping Alex to be out there as well, doing half an hour, 45-minute sets. Some of the people that you've seen recently and some from our past will be on hand for you to hear their great music. So this is really going to make it into a lot more of an event than strictly the sales of artware. It's going to almost be like art for art's sake, a mini art for art's sake. So put it down on your calendar, October 9th, 10 to 4, 1001 South Broad, Art Morgue Art Egg Studio. We're going to show you, for the end of the day, a little flyer with that about it and tell you more about it. Meanwhile, we're running late. Let's go ahead and see Ultimatum. Alex Maul, what are you going to do for your second song, please?
Our next song is a song called Chant.
That was Ultimatum, Alex MAUL, and the guys from Noka doing a great jazz rendition. They'll come back for one more before the end of the day, so stay tuned. Okay, we're pleased today to have Executive Chef Sandro PIERRI of Santo'S Trattatoria out in Metairie on Jefferson. One thing, Sandro, we forgot to ask, we didn't talk about your hours of operation and days, and so people need to know when you're open for business so they can come out there and patronize you. Tell us a little about that, please.
We open Monday through Thursday from 11 to 9.
Okay, straight through, huh?
Right, straight through.
Great, love that.
Yeah, and then Friday and Saturday we open from 11 to 10.
11 to 10.
Yeah,
So we had to pull him out of the kitchen this afternoon to have him on the show here live, but we were gracious that he did. So there you go, folks. That helps compensate for the size of his restaurant. So, like, if you're a late luncher like I am, you don't have to worry about being in there at 2 or 2:30. You know, you can just casually take your lunch, or an early diner. So that'll help balance the flow of traffic in there. So don't forget, he's closed on Sundays. The rest of the time, he's open straight through. All right, let's go ahead and move on now. The two things that really make Italian after their food is their coffees and their desserts. And I've forgotten which ones we have on film here first, whether it's the coffees or the desserts. Let's take a look, Mr. Director, which ones we have first here. Yes. Oh, this is great. And Italian cake. Is that what it's called?
Italian cream cake.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us all the wonderful ingredients. And this is not cassata, though. It's
No,
a
it's
little
not
bit like
cassata.
cassata, but with icing to me. It's a little different. But
Right.
anyway, go ahead.
Again, we don't have the opportunity to make all of our desserts just because our kitchen is just too small and
Right.
there's enough time to cook. But we get that brought in along with that's the Italian cream cake. It's just a traditional Italian cream cake with layers of cream, and I can't see all on the picture, but and we get that out of a little homemade bakery out of Hammond.
It's got fruit in it too. It's
Fruit,
delicious.
yeah,
That's
it's
what I
just-
said. A little bit like a cassata,
Almost
but
like
with
a
cream.
salad, but not layers that you
Not
see.
layers, exactly. Wonderful, wonderful taste. And of course, an Italian dessert couldn't be a dessert if it was not tiramisu. Does a wonderful, authentic job here. Let's see if we can take a look at that. Hopefully we get a picture of that. Tell us about your tiramisu, please.
That's made with your traditional ladyfinger, and that's
you
a
go.
good shot of that.
Really good shot,
You know,
yeah.
ladyfinger and your coffee liqueur and coffees and layers. That's just traditional.
Unfortunately,
Not
America has, with its sweet tooth, has Americanized this dish, and a lot of restaurants have taken it to way out there, the sweetness, with your whipped creams and all this other stuff. That, I mean, it's okay if you really want it, but this, the true flavor, having that coffee flavor and the ricotta cheese or whatever cheese you're using along those lines, that is the true flavor.
Yeah, it's really
but
good.
too many people today don't even know what real tiramisu is because they're eating these really overly sweet desserts that are way far from the original. So very, very authentic. And we had 2 cups of the best coffee with it. Let's see if we've got both an espresso and a cappuccino. This is the one I had. Tell us about your cappuccino. It was right on top there.
It's just traditional cappuccino with your frothed milk and your espresso coffee. We use Lavazza.
Lavazza, wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lavazza coffee brand, and
Right.
Troy does a good job with all
Really
the
does.
coffees and
Let's see, I think we had a
espressos.
little miniature of the espresso. Do we have that too? For those who, well, maybe not. There
That
you
is,
go.
yeah.
There you go. Wonderful. Real kick to yourself. This is the way to finish the dessert, truly. And he does have some other desserts, I believe, don't you?
Oh yeah, we have key lime pie. We have
Nice
all this
selection.
sort of
Yeah,
nice
we wanted to go with
selection.
real Italian, and these you don't see the Italian cake that much, but of course tiramisu is so standard. We wanted to show it. Let's talk a little bit about your other beverages because obviously, man does not love by coffee alone. I was very impressed. It's really unique how they've made such great use of space, as I mentioned. There's one wall separating one little dining nook from the main dining room is actually the wine shelf. It's got all your, or some of your wines making a whole wall. Tell us about your variety of wines you're doing.
Well, we use California wines and Italian wines, and our philosophy for wines is a little different. Our wines are not expensive. We have low price, middle price, and high, but our markup is what's the key. You know, we want a couple or a group of 4 to come and enjoy 2 or 3 bottles of wine.
Right.
So our markup on our wine is real minimal.
Good.
That way you can come and enjoy your meal.
Whatever level you want.
Right. And we have typical Syrahs and Merlots, and our biggest seller I think is Chianti.
Chianti.
Chianti from Italy.
And I think once again returning to the roots is important because again Chianti's gotten pushed to the backside over the years. Before it was the staple of all Italian restaurants. Now you barely can find it. It's like it's the stepchild. But I think a really good Chianti is
good Chianti from
tremendous
that
for-
region, from Tuscan, the hard times, is really
tremendous with the
good.
food.
And they don't have to, wine. A lot of people think a wine is because it's expensive has to be good. That's not necessarily the case. The couple of Chiantis that we have are excellent and reasonably priced.
Right. Okay. Well, folks, we've been talking to Executive Chef Sandro PIERRI of Santo'S Trattatoria. As we mentioned, it's out in our neighboring parish, Jefferson Parish, Veterans across from Lafreniere Park, in a huge mini strip mall that has a couple other restaurants as well. It's comfortably ensconced near the back, but fairly visible and greatly visible because instead of that flat wall like everyone else has, he's got a wonderful red canopy that really lights up the night and really draws you in. With a couple of benches outside, it really makes you feel in a neighborhood restaurant. And again, once you go inside, small that it is, everyone is a family, and it really is tremendous. you're going to find some of the best Italian cooking, and that's hard for me to say, in Metairie now. We have something really to go out there for. A lot of people have to come to New Orleans to really find some of the original good Italian restaurants. And even though there's some others out in Metairie, real authentic Italian is really hard to come by out there. You've got too many chains and too many of these other things that pretend to be Italian. So I recommend, if you have a chance, to please give them a try. You will not regret it, and we're hoping that he's so successful he can open more than one of these in some of the other parts of the city, so that more and more of the patrons can actually see them. All right, we're going to go see our musicians in a minute, but one more time I want to tell you about Art Egg Art Mart. I don't know if we get a close-up of that. They said we could. Hopefully you can. As I mentioned, on October the 9th from 10 to 4, morning to the afternoon, the Art Egg Studios will be open inside and out, with many of the artisans displaying their wares, which of course you can buy, but as well, it's like going to 40 mini art galleries all in one block. In addition to that, as we mentioned, we're also going to be featuring many of our musicians, at least 6 I believe that we have lined up for you, every 45 minutes changing, so it'll have free musical coming. Some of the ones that you've seen, Julia Dahl last week is out there. Jesse Moore was on a few months ago, trying to get some of the old ones out there. So again, and we will be providing these every month to Dr. Dyer's group, so that way she can have musical accompaniment. Plus the restaurants will grow with that. We're going to be, I know we've got commitments from Gigi's Asian Bistro, from Maria's Regional Cuisine. So we've got several people on board already that are going to be serving food out there for you. So another enticement that the other art marts don't have. So check them out. The second Saturday every month from 10 to 4, Art Egg Studio. You can check out their website, www.artegg.com, for any more details. They'll give you the map, everything, how to get there. Remember, it's open to the public, free. There is no admission charge. Okay, we want to now let these great group of young musicians finish us out. Come back to us next week. We've got 7 new restaurants coming up, folks. I think you're really going to be pleased with some of these new ones that have opened up since the end of summer. So let's go ahead and take it away. The name of the group, they're calling themselves Ultimatum. Alex MAUL is their spokesman. And Alex, tell us what you can do for our last song.
Our last song today is a song we wrote
Bye.